Welcome to We've Got a Country to Say, brought to you by my friends at investyrefy.com. By the way, in case you're wondering, yes, you can order your own We've Got a Country to Save merch by going to larryelder.com and click on the merch shop. Now, invest in America like I do. And the show is brought to you by Freedom Chat. Freedom Chat is true end-to-end encryption, no storage of messages on the server, and no commercial use of user data. That way, you can speak freely and message privately. Download the app today and subscribe to my Freedom Chat channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. We also thank Epic Times, Old Glory Bank, Patriot Mobile, Century H2O, Blue Line Moving, and El Cholo. Make sure to follow or subscribe to my channel on whatever platform you are using, whether X, YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble. And be sure to patronize our sponsors. Please like and subscribe to our podcast. And if you don't patronize our sponsors, well...
Stop. Stop.
Leave her alone.
What you doing?
What?
Get the out of that booth.
We know where you live.
I'm extremely proud of my son, Hunter.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know. I'm extremely proud of my son, Hunter, and I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I'd abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Mr. President, you led up the beauty to
Finally, Democrats have a moral perch from which they can judge without shame, hypocrisy, or nuance.
Breaking news, President Biden has issued a pardon for his son, Hunter Biden.
Mother... We were so close.
Why did you change your mind and pardon your son?
Mr. President, why did you pardon your son?
President Biden is expected to pardon his son, Hunter Biden. The president's son was convicted on all 3 felony charges in June related to the purchase of a revolver in 2018 when prosecutors argued Hunter lied on a mandatory gun purchase form by saying he was not illegally using or addicted to drugs. According to NBC News, the president made the decision this weekend. Molly, fast and furious, what do you make of this new news?
I just heard it. I have to process it. I don't have a take. I'm sorry.
Yes, well...
Do you agree with some of your Democrat colleagues who say that President Biden's pardon of Hunter Biden was wrong or unwise, puts personal interest ahead of duty?
I got nothing for you on that.
Can I follow up on that? Are you concerned with the lack of transparency, lack of honesty around Biden's decision to pardon?
As I said, I got nothing for you on that. Nope.
I'm sure that pardoning anyone on the way out of office, family members, sets a poor precedent.
Thank you. I've got nothing for you on that.
But the question is, they've talked about January 6th pardons. This is a playbook for incoming President Trump. Isn't this a problem? Did he not establish a bad precedent for pardons?
I got nothing for you on that. Any other subjects?
Hi, folks. You may be hearing a lot about Yrefy these days. Well, it's true. Investors all over the country are earning a high fixed rate of return, and they don't care what happens with the stock market or the Fed. And it's true, your interest is compounded daily, you're paid monthly, and there are absolutely no fees. And yes, it's true, there is no attack on your principal if you ever need your money back. When you invest with Yrefy like I do, you are in control. You can turn your income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose. You don't have to worry about doom and gloom economic news, and you can have peace of mind that you'll receive your statement every month with no surprises. Would you like some more information? Just call 877-80-INVEST, that's 877-80-INVEST, or log on to investyrefy.com, that's investyrefy.com. Yrefy, do well by doing good. Let me ask you a question. How many of you are concerned about the invasion of privacy that is currently going on by the Biden administration? Biden's DOJ is invading individuals' private messages and targeting them based on their political affiliation, and that's why I partnered with Freedom Chat, a private social messaging app that, like me, believes privacy is your fundamental human right. Freedom Chat has variable end-to-end encryption, built-in screenshot protection, no storage of messages on their servers, and no commercial use of user data. I'm such a fan of Freedom Chat, in fact, that I have created my own private channel that you can subscribe to for exclusive content, including never-seen images, videos, and posts. Simply download the app, or if you're on Android, join their waitlist. Search for my channel and subscribe. No one can see the channels that you are subscribed to or the posts that you react to. It's your own perfectly curated private news feed. Speak freely and message privately with Freedom Chat. Download the app today and subscribe to my channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. Now, to the surprise of no one paying attention, President Joe Biden has pardoned his son Hunter for tax evasion and gun charges. Remember this?
No one is above the law.
Fox 13 is following breaking news. President Biden has just pardoned his son Hunter, sparing him from a possible prison sentence for federal felony gun and tax convictions. The president had previously said he would not pardon his son or commute his sentence after his convictions in 2 cases in Delaware and California.
Second one, will the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
We go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Again, you've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute the sentence for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No. Go ahead, Phil.
Thank you. There was some confusion on this previously, and the president seemed to address this in passing as he was walking away from the joint press conference with Zelensky.
I know the question, yep.
So I just wanted to clarify, President Biden has ruled out any type of commutation or reduced sentence for his son, Hunter Biden?
Yes, he has.
Thank you, ma'am.
Does the president intend to pardon any administration officials or people that Trump has threatened with any sort of legal actions? He's got 74 days, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I know pardons is going to be a big part of the questions that I get here over the next several weeks and a couple of months that we have. I don't have anything to share or any thought process on pardons. Once we have something to share, we certainly will share that.
Secondly, his son, Hunter, is also up for being sentenced next month. Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
Your son, Hunter, is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes. With regard to the question regarding the family, I'm extremely proud of my son, Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know. And I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre insisted President Biden would never pardon Hunter.
We go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No, 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 no.
As we sit here in Normandy, your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
What is before us is a president who is living the rule of law.
he is living it in in the most personal way. He is not pardoning his son, which he could do. These are federal charges. Right. He is not doing that. He is not doing it because he is living what it means to have a rule of law in this country. Yeah. And it is, I mean, if you want to know if he believes it, you could actually see what is happening with his own son. I mean, I'm not saying that he should get credit for it because it is the right thing to do.
That's the norm, but Trump is beneath it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's that the idea that you can't see it, or is that really what's going on? Or when you can see what he is actually living by is his own son is being prosecuted, and he is allowing the norms that are required to live in a democracy to go forward.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
I'm going to place the odds that Joe Biden pardons Hunter Biden at 100.0%. Hunter Biden will get a pardon as a result of this decision today. It will not happen until after Election Day.
That's what I was going to ask. When's it happen?
He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it before Election Day, but he's going to stick around. And after Election Day, I believe it is now 100% that Joe Biden will pardon Hunter.
2040 and you're a winner. You are our winner. Congratulations.
Now, this pardon goes way back in 2014. Wait a minute. Wasn't that the same year that Hunter joined the board of Burisma? So what's next? Biden's going to pardon his brother Jim and pardon himself.
Well, the president has essentially limitless pardon power over federal offenses. There is an open legal question about the prospective pardons of crimes that have not been indicted, but that may have occurred during the time frame. Obviously, the wording of the pardon here is meant to encompass any and all potential issues that have never been charged yet, but that many people have been wondering, namely the money that they've been getting from Ukraine and other overseas sources. So this pardon is essentially meant to cover that. Whether it legally and constitutionally does so is something that has never been affirmatively adjudicated. But I guess we'll see if Joe Biden tries to issue a pardon for himself before he leaves office altogether, and then we'll really know what this is about.
Republican Scott Jennings almost makes CNN watchable.
Joe Biden is leaving office making the strongest possible case for Donald Trump that anybody could possibly make it, and that's that our government and our justice system is of, by, and for the elites and nobody else. He ran to banish Trumpism from our political system in this country, and he has left it politically and now institutionally the strongest possible political force in this country. It is a complete and utter failure by the head of the Democratic Party and the President of the United States. Never again do I want to hear, oh, Donald Trump's a liar. You can't believe anything he says. Donald Trump will abuse his power. Donald Trump will only use the system to benefit himself and his family and so on and so forth. Never again. I have one question for Karen, and that is, why did he need an 11-year blanket pardon going back to 2014 when Joe Biden was the vice president? We are sitting on the biggest cover-up of who knows what crimes, and Joe Biden amazingly knows exactly, roughly, when it started. He knows just about when it all started. He's leaving office in complete and total disgrace. He is a liar, and there is no other way to spin this today. This has nothing to do with Trump and everything to do with the character of Joe Biden.
So where does a trans congresswoman use the bathroom?
Yeah, but are you going after a marginalized person here?
Sarah McBride doesn't get a say in this. This is a biological man trying to force himself into women's spaces, and I'm not going to tolerate it. You have the radical left that are trying to erase women and erase women's rights. I'm the first woman to graduate from the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina. If some guy in a skirt came by and said, no, that's my achievement, I'm going to be there and standing in the way and saying, hell no. I'm not going to allow men to erase women or women's rights. And I'm going to be standing up here. I will file this again next congressional session. Sarah McBride doesn't get a say. This is about women. This is about girls. This is about our rights and being protected in our private spaces. I don't want to see a man in a women's restroom. That's not a thing, and it's not going to be a thing up here. It's not going to be a thing anywhere across the country either. Thank you so much.
The reason the red wave is happening in America right now is because the Democratic leaders have treated their party as though they don't have two brain cells to rub together, and they've massively let their party down. They think that we all suffer from the same memory loss that Joe Biden's suffering from. They also act as just this righteous group of people, and they run on the same thing year after year. The people are tired of it. They're going to hammer immigration during Trump's presidency, and they're going to hammer abortion rights, which they always do. They act like the people can't think for themselves and start questioning things, which is exactly what's happened. They think that we're just magically going to forget that Obama deported 3 million illegals during his term and was the largest deporter of illegal immigrants, way more than Trump. They think that we're going to forget that Biden himself was accused of SA. They think we're going to forget that there was cocaine found in Biden's White House. They think we're going to forget that Hunter accepted money from China. They think we're going to forget that the Biden's net worth grew somewhere around 20 million because of the Ukraine war. Dare I say, what's on Hunter Biden's laptop? What's on Hunter Biden's laptop? Where'd it go? They think we're going to forget Hillary's 30,000 missing emails. They think that we're going to forget that there's a Parkinson's doctor visiting the White House week over week. And the fact that the leaders gaslit their party into believing that Biden was fit for president when he clearly was not. He clearly has not been from the start. And then when it was too obvious to hide, they put forward a very, very unlikable candidate who was majorly underqualified, who Biden himself said that he chose her because of the color of her skin and the fact that she was a woman. And then they're going to turn around and call us racist. They're going to call us racist when we question where the COVID virus came from. Was it from a bat in a meat market, or was it from the lab down the street that was funded by the NIH that was studying the virus? They call us racist for stating the obvious. They called us conspiracy theorists for not wanting to take... They fired us from our jobs for not wanting to take the vaccine when it was not backed by science. And now that it's come out that it was not effective, they just sweep it under the rug. They pretend like it didn't happen. They just forget about the fact that they looted and burned cities. Do you guys remember Antifa and how they took over Seattle and Portland, Oregon? They pigeonhole people. They say that if you're not of white European descent, straight white European descent, you need their help. You are not as superior as white Europeans. When we're sitting here going, the laws are the same. There's no favor for either side. So we treat people as equals because they should be equals. They think that we're going to forget that they they harvested votes in the 2020 election. The fact that they changed the laws to prosecute their political opponents. They think we're going to forget that they think that we're going to believe them when they tell us that inflation isn't bad and the cost of goods has not gone up, when the cost of goods has gone up 20% across the board. Kamala Harris, there's a clip of her saying so herself, but they're going to lie to you and say, oh, it's not that bad, and think that you're just going to believe it. When we're going to the grocery store, we're looking around, we're seeing the cost of our rent go up. We're seeing the cost of houses go up, like exponentially between the administrations. They blame Trump for Biden's bad economy, but then they credit Obama for Trump's thriving economy. They think that we're going to forget that the Democrats raised the corporate tax rate 26.5%, which is higher than China. It's higher. It's one of the worst corporate tax rates in the world. It's driving American jobs, manufacturing, research, and IP out of the U.S. They think we're going to forget that the Democrats changed America's international laws to favor foreign companies over U.S. companies. Like, they think that we can't think for themselves. And that is why so many people voted for Trump, because people that voted for Trump truly voted for Trump. They didn't vote in fear out of anything. Whereas the Democratic leaders have gaslit and fear-mongered their people into believing these really far out there ideas. And people started questioning it. And that's why this red wave's happened. If the Democrats want to make a comeback, they really, really have to change their strategy. The people are smarter than this. And it's nice to see.
Americans have had enough of supporting companies that hate our values. Tired of compromise? So am I. It's time to switch to Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They are an example of putting the cause ahead of profits, and that's why I'm proud to partner with them. Patriot Mobile offers dependable nationwide coverage, giving you access to all 3 major networks, which means you get the same coverage you've been accustomed to without funding the left. When you switch over to Patriot Mobile, you're sending a message that you support the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the sanctity of life, and our military vets and our first responder heroes. Their 100% US-based customer service team makes it easy to switch, keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their team will help you find the best plan for your needs. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. That's patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation when you use the offer code Larry. Join me and make that switch today. patriotmobile.com/Larry, patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. Located in the heart of Sugar House, Salt Lake City, Utah, family-owned El Cholo is a vibrant Mexican restaurant offering a unique dining experience across 2 stylish levels. With a beautiful bar, chic design, and stunning views of the Wasatch Mountains, it's the perfect spot for both casual meals and special occasions. El Cholo can host up to 250 people, making it an ideal venue for events like weddings, parties, or corporate gatherings. Whether you're enjoying authentic Mexican dishes or sipping cocktails like our signature margarita, the restaurant's warm ambiance and prime location attract a diverse crowd, including the University of Utah students who love the flavorful dishes and wonderful, lively atmosphere. El Cholo is a favorite gathering spot for locals and visitors alike. 2166 South 900th East, Salt Lake City, Utah, 84106. Phone number 385-426-2166. Other locations in Los Angeles, Santa Monica, downtown LA, Anaheim Hills, Corona del Mar, and La Habra. elcholo.com, that's elcholo.com. After several days in witness protection, Kamala Harris comes out and speaks to her supporters. Some say she looked tired, even as if she had been drinking.
I would just ask all of you to join me in welcoming our Vice President, Kamala Harris.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. Back at you, brother. You are such an extraordinary leader, and we have become lifelong friends. I just, in front of everyone, I want to thank you, Tim. You lead with courage. You lead with heart. You see the people. You care about the people. You believe in uplifting the dignity to which all people are entitled, and you do it and you have a sense of fun when you're doing it. Indians. And let me just say to everyone on this call, I am so grateful for you, and I'm so thankful to you. I'm thankful for your love of our country and your willingness to put the work into it. I'm thankful for the faith that you put in me and Governor Walz and our team. And I am thankful because I know your character is such that you're not gonna get knocked down. And you're in this fight. And you're in it for all the right reasons. And I know that about you.
Yeah, I know who you are. You're Dean Martin. You know who I am? No, I don't. Would you mind asking around? Oh, never mind. I know how I'll find out. Oh. How you like that? I'm Virginia Mayo.
The outcome of this election obviously is not what we wanted. It is not what we worked so hard for. But I am proud of the race we ran. And your role in this was critical. What we did in 107 days was unprecedented. Think about the coalition that we built, and we were so intentional about that. You would hear me talk about it all the time. Being a daughter of parents who are active in the civil rights movement, I know and believe that the best movements that are about progress in our country mean that it's leaders that we are dedicated to the coalition, to bringing people together that seemingly have nothing in common, but have everything in common. A coalition where we bring people together based on a deep love of our country and our understanding that the strength of our country will be a function of our willingness to put in the work, and that we will do that work with a sense of joy, yes, with a sense of work ethic and understanding it's going to be hard, but it's good work. It's good work. To be engaged in a collective fight for America's future. Don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did.
Breaking news. Special counsel Jack Smith has agreed to end his 2 federal cases against President-elect Trump. Winning! When will they ever learn?
I think it is a shame for justice in this country. It establishes that Donald Trump is above the law. The Supreme Court put him above the law in that opinion that Paula just mentioned. But now he appears to escape full accountability for what were crimes charged by a grand jury. And I would just add one other thing that we ought to pay close attention to. We cannot normalize the fact that Donald Trump, as the president-elect, should not be held accountable for crimes that he committed before.
In other words, after Jack Smith filed the charges against Trump, Trump haters, wait for it, thought the walls were closing in on him. I say again, when will they ever learn?
The walls feel like they are closing in.
But as the walls close in around the president,
Donald Trump feels the walls closing in.
This is a guy who feels like the walls are closing in.
The walls are closing in on him?
Because the walls are closing in.
The walls are closing in on the president.
Now the walls appear to be closing in.
Really kind of the walls closing in on him.
The walls are closing in because the walls are indeed closing in.
I think at this point, the walls are spinning.
The legal walls are closing in.
The walls are closing in on President Trump.
The walls, meanwhile, are closing in on the President of the United States.
The walls closing in on President Donald Trump.
It appears that the walls are closing in on this president.
it feels that the walls are closing in on him.
The walls closing in on him.
The walls are closing in.
And the walls are closing in.
That the walls are closing in on the president.
Are the walls closing in?
The walls are closing in on the presidency.
It says as the walls begin to close around him. The political walls closing in on him.
This is a president that feels the walls closing in.
The walls are closing in on Donald Trump.
I think the walls are finally closing in.
The walls have been closing in on Donald Trump this entire time.
The walls are closing in around him.
The walls.
The walls. The walls.
The walls.
The walls.
Walls and the walls.
The walls. The walls. The walls.
Walls
are closing
in.
Closing in.
Closing in.
Closing in on.
It's closing in.
The walls are closing in on
President Donald Trump.
He's not looking forward to any of it. He's horrified. He's just talking big. The walls are closing in.
That Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
Come on, get out! Go! Move! Come on,
Do you ever wake up and realize your life has no purpose?
Do I have a death wish? Morgan asked. Maybe I did. I thought this would be our final run ever. We had made millions and millions of dollars, but God had other plans.
Peter Lowe, the one-time drug dealer turned pastor, along with 2 others, will be executed at 12 midnight local time.
You can be in heaven or you can be in hell. The choice is yours. I found Christ in here, and he forgave me.
My name is Peter Lone, and I will be executed in 2 hours.
Jesus is for free, and salvation is a gift. Do you believe in Jesus?
Blue Line Moving is a veteran-owned full-service moving company dedicated to serving families across South Florida, as well as nationwide over the past 10 years. Whether it's moving furniture, organizing items, or packing your belongings, we go the extra mile to make sure it's all done right. We provide clients with an affordable and stress-free moving experience every step of the way. BlueLineMovingAndStorage.com. That's BlueLineMovingAndStorage.com. Oh, please, MSNBC, stop feigning shock over learning that the Harris campaign gave Sharpton's nonprofit, that the IRS, by the way, wouldn't audit in a million years, $500,000 right before Sharpton's suck-up interview with Harris. Please, MSNBC, you knew exactly what you were getting when you hired the Tawana Brawley-lying, tax deadbeat, would-be cocaine-dealing, race-hustling, Crown Heights, Freddie's Fashion Mart incendiary, and FBI snitch with a history of anti-white and anti-Semitic slurs. Even the National Association of Black Journalists slammed MSNBC when they gave a show to this no justice, no peace shakedown artist. So MSNBC cannot fire him no matter what he says, no matter what he does. The Rev would whip out the race card faster than you could say George Floyd. Let's roll tape on some of the Rev's greatest hits.
Kamala Harris spoke to me that day.
It's not Kamala.
I worked with Kamala Harris.
It's Kamala.
We have fought too hard for women to be told to get out of the kitchen.
Say that one more time.
We have fought too hard for women to be told to get out of the kitchen.
The Reverend Al Sharpton has referred to members of the Jewish faith as blood-sucking Jews and Jew bastards. Is that true, or did you not say those things?
They are patently untrue.
Have you ever referred to members of the Jewish faith as white interlopers or diamond merchants?
No, sir. I referred to one in Harlem, an individual who I didn't even know was Jewish, as an interloper.
Have you ever referred to African Americans who disagree with you as yellow and then the N-word?
I don't know that I've referred to people as names. I don't know if it's because they disagree with me.
Plenty of crackers walking around here tonight. Did you say those words?
I do not recall.
Have you said, I'm in hell already, I'm in Israel?
Yeah.
Have you ever referred to African Americans who disagree with you as Negro militants?
At least justice has been served. Hey, wait a second. You gonna get rid of this? Come on, there's still good meat here.
I didn't know that was a derogatory statement.
You referred to people as Greek homos, didn't you?
I do not recall how I referred to anyone.
Mr. Sharpton, have you ever referred to African Americans who disagree with you as cocktail sip Negroes?
I have.
This really happened. Look it up. I want you to all go back and Google. Say that one more time. And Google.
So in the words of my late friend Aretha Franklin, show some RESPICT.
Deal with it, you whiny Democrats. The Orange Grinch is back. He's going to take away your administrative state, and you won't like it. Let's talk Trump nominees. Kash Patel, FBI. A reaction on MSNBC Hee-Haw of former communications director of Jeb Bush, Republican turned independent.
Is there enough backbone there, do you think, to defeat multiple nominees?
I don't know. I think it's possible. And look, we saw it with Matt Gaetz already, and I think that I was actually surprised how quickly that happened. To me, Kash Patel, and I don't say this lightly, is the most dangerous nominee that we've seen yet to our democracy. I mean, you might think that having Pete Hegseth running the military is a greater level of danger because of his lack of experience, or Tulsi Gabbard at intelligence. But just as far as the threats to democracy that we were warning up about before the election, and Kash Patel was a key player inside the Trump White House, pushing for and orchestrating the coup attempt in 2020. He was trying to completely take control of the Justice Department at the time. He was Trump's top lieutenant who was willing to do anything and advance any lie in service of his attempt to overturn that last election, to such a degree that there were many people that were Trump appointees in 2020 who were staying around and saying no, like standing in the breach and saying, no, not Kash Patel. Like, you cannot put Kash Patel as a temporary leader of the Justice Department, et cetera. These are Trump appointees. And so, I will see what happens in the Senate. But if Trump had people around him that were quasi-loyalists that were like, that guy's too far, who knows what that'll mean for the Senate.
Patel is a lawyer, both a defense lawyer and a prosecutor, and in the first Trump administration served as U.S. National Security Council official, senior advisor to the acting director of national intelligence, and chief of staff to the acting U.S. Secretary of Defense. Here's why the Adam Schiffs and Eric Swalwells hate Kash Patel. Patel about January 6th.
Why on January 6th, when it has now publicly been admitted by the FBI that they had information that there could possibly be a situation like that at the United States Capitol, why weren't the cabinet secretaries under President Trump briefed? Why didn't the FBI put 1,000 uniformed agents around the U.S. Capitol? Where was the fence? Right? These are the lackings that led to January 6th. These are the mistakes, intentional or otherwise, that led to January 6th. And if you look at the video from January 6th, and they still won't release all of it, an entire side of the Capitol, I believe it's the south side, was totally unmanned. No police officers whatsoever. And that's where the crowd first came in through. And you have to ask yourself, what happened on January 6th? Now, look, I was chief of staff of the Department of Defense on the 6th. We had offered the Capitol Police and Mayor Bowser of Washington, D.C., thousands of National Guardsmen and women 2 days before January 6th, and they turned us down. So it could have been prevented.
Out that Joe Biden has many more places where documents were improperly stored, and the Justice Department had known for quite some time. And that information, we now know, has been suppressed at least for 2 months. But I think it's going to go even further back. And the question I have is, why haven't they searched the other properties that Joe Biden's been talking about? What everybody's overlooking is the timeline. These documents have been on the move for 7 years. For 7 years, classified information has been going from place to place, to state, and no one has done anything about it, and no one knew anything about it. At least if you take Joe Biden at his word, he didn't know anything about it, which means his junior subordinates were the ones moving it around. Who are these people?
Patel and what he intends to do when he becomes FBI director.
Then we need to decrease what I call government creep with personnel. The FBI's footprint has gotten so freaking big, and the biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers and rapists and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title, looking for their parachute out of government. So while you're bringing in the right people, you also have to shrink government.
So massive government reform.
Yeah. And you got to work with Congress to eliminate the billets. This is one of the things we did when I was deputy DNI. We got to DNI and I was like, okay, what do all these people do? We've got the CIA, so why do I have analysts doing the CIA's job here? Why do I have a floor of them? Like, give me a good answer. I don't know everything. I don't know a lot. But if you can give me an answer that satisfies their existence, I'm all in. Well, we just have our own people. Okay, well, now we don't. And we went to Congress and zeroed out a bunch of billets, and they hated us for it.
Why? Why would Congress hate you for that?
Not Congress, the public. Congress is like, great, you saved us money. You're the only agency that returned money this year because we didn't spend our entire budget. We were literally funding seats with no humans in them for years. And what the government creep that I was talking about is these agencies go to Congress every year. And again, this is why it's a thing of decades. I need 5 more seats here. I need 10 more seats here. Okay, you keep doing that. How's that going? Oh, we'll fill that seat next year. We're in the process of, interviewing people for that section. And that keeps, no one returns money. It's the biggest fiction in government that you can't return money. Every agency and department that I've ever worked for, when it comes to the fiscal end of the year, they're like, go on trips, go spend money. What? Just give it back to Congress. We can't do that.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who? That is that. I mean, there's.
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school. Yeah. We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game. That's why you don't have a Black Book. Or the
but the Black Book, it's not just sitting. I mean, that's Hoover power times 10.
And to me, that's a thing I think President Trump should run on. On day one, roll out the Black Book. And not just that. On day one, roll out all of the text messaging communications we were told were deleted. On day one, play the rest of the video of the pipe bomber. On day, one of the reforms I talk about in government gangsters is you need a central node to be continuously declassifying. This is another thing they do. They overclassify. And I'm telling you, as a former number 2 in the IC, they overclassify 50% of the stuff there to protect the deep state. Oh, no, you can't see that. Nothing to see here. Gina was a master at it, of doing it. And we still haven't seen half of the Russiagate report that we wrote. Still under lock and key. On how the ICA was originally constructed. We put 10,000 man-hours against John Brennan's team that did it. And we found out why they came up with their bogus conclusion. But we couldn't sell it to the world because we couldn't talk about it, and the government gangsters came in and buried it. All of these things, there needs to be a continuing central power, whether it's the White House or offsite, that says every request that comes in, just right out the door, as long as it's not a major threat to national security.
Hide the women and children.
So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they raping everybody out here.
Here comes Kash Patel.
Donald Trump is now apparently considering appointing loyalist Kash Patel to the position of FBI director. How dangerous might this be?
Kash Patel, who's a total bomb thrower, MAGA person.
I suppose if we still had the ability to be shocked, it's shocking.
Who is this man, and why did so many top officials fear him?
It's a terrible development for the men and women of the FBI and also for the nation.
There have been some concerns voiced by John Bolton.
He believes in nothing except serving Donald Trump.
Patel is a MAGA loyalist known for his extreme rhetoric.
Patel has promised to go after journalists, among others, and more or less dismantle the agency.
Putting someone like Kash Patel in the position of director of the FBI is, I believe, extremely, extremely dangerous.
The most dangerous nominee that we've seen yet to our democracy.
I think he's not a distraction. I think this is actually one of the dangerous ones that we need to be paying attention to.
It's dangerous to put someone like this in charge.
People called Patel dangerous.
How dangerous is that?
Deeply dangerous.
Extraordinarily dangerous.
And this is a very dangerous moment.
Patel is facing criticism for a lack of experience.
He has indeed, as you note, no qualifications.
Kash Patel is profoundly unqualified for this job.
Kash Patel, who has absolutely no business being the director of the FBI.
There is no ideology. There's no agenda here other than retribution.
Singularly focused
on exacting revenge.
He has talked about targeting people.
To go after journalists, to go after political critics.
You have the makings of, you know, a not so slow motion authoritarian takeover of the United States government. And people ought to be really concerned about this.
To which I have one thing to say.
Why isn't your bank asking what's in your heart? When big banks cancel your account because they don't like your politics, or they share your transaction data with the government, it's no wonder they don't ask what's in your heart. That's not what they care about. Old Glory Bank is different. We're the pro-America online bank that protects your privacy, security, and liberty. Started by Dr. Ben Carson, Larry Elder, and John Rich, we proudly serve customers in all 50 states. Open your account in minutes at oldglorybank.com. We stand with you.
When researching water treatment systems, I believe there is good, better, and the best system is Century H2O. It removes harmful toxins like ammonia, lead, fluoride, cyanide, chlorine, arsenic, sulfates, pesticides, pharmaceutical VOCs, and many more. Plus, Century H2O water treatment systems boost the alkalinity, oxygen, and pH of the drinking water. It's an easy under-the-sink install and is perfect for any household. A huge reassurance about Century H2O systems is that they are backed by science with extensive research from independent lab tests. All report results are on their website, centuryh2o.com. You can have peace of mind, no more concerns about the safety of your water. Best of all, a Century H2O water treatment system is less expensive than bottled water. Right now, they are giving my viewers 10% off any system by using the discount code Larry. You'll receive fast, free delivery on the best drinking water for you and your family. Order today at centuryh2o.com. I'll post a link in the comments below and use the discount code Larry for 10% off. This was interesting. Big headline in Yahoo News. Fox News' Laura Ingraham apologizes after mixing up photos of Fonnie and Letitia James on air. In other words, Laura Ingraham, racially insensitive, if not racist. Please, this could have been much, much worse. Just ask this left-wing host over on MSNBC Hee-Haw.
Joining me now to talk about this and the nation's real problem of joblessness, the Reverend Al Sharpton. What's your reaction to hearing someone say, you know, when it comes to income inequality, all's well. The rising tide floats all boats.
I'm Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Right. I don't. You know, I'm so sorry. The script in front of me said Reverend Al Sharpton. I'm looking at your face. I know who you are, Reverend Jackson. We all do. I'm sorry.
I'm Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Now let's talk about the coming showdown between mass deportation of, quote, undocumented migrants, close quote, and blue sanctuary states like California.
Laura, a lot of people ask me why I get so emotional when I do Fox News and why I scream at members of Congress. Because I've seen so much tragedy. I've talked to hundreds of angels and moms and dads who buried their children because they're killed by illegal alien. This is the latest. You know, I've talked to little girls as young as 9 years old that were raped multiple times by members of cartel. When you look in her eyes and everything innocent and pure has been ripped from her soul, and her life will never be the same. I mean, it's just, I'm tired of it. And the government failed the Lake and Riley family. Not only, if President Trump was president, he'd be sitting in Mexico in the Remain in Mexico program. And if he did get to New York and he was arrested for injury to a child in New York, ICE would be able to arrest him because the priorities under Trump were if you're in the country illegally, you're a target. But because Secretary Mayorkas put the priorities so low, even the injury to the child didn't meet the standards, so ICE could even place a detainer on him. So this is purely, it could have been prevented. This young lady's dead, and I want every mayor, every governor of a sanctuary jurisdiction to listen to that tape, listen to this young girl fight for her life, fight for her breath, trying to survive, terrified. Think of I want you to understand what she went through. Like the 9-year-old boy, the 5-year-old boy in the back tractor trailer that I held. I found him dead, baked to death. I thought about what the last hour of his life was like. You need to listen to this tape. And for those governors and mayors who are saying they're going to stop Tom Homan, they're going to stop President Trump, shame on you. Your responsibility is protect your communities, and that's what we want to do, is protect your community.
There doesn't have to be a conflict unless that's what Trump wants.
The governor has called a special session that will convene this week to set aside money to battle the Trump administration. Will some of that money also be set aside to protect migrants and undocumented immigrants in California as they seek either legal advice or continued legal financial backing to support their efforts to stay within California and the United States?
Yeah. Again, if the first Trump administration is any indicator, we know that there will continue to be a lot of fear in communities, and communities that deserve to know what their rights are and what their rights are not. And so if it's legal assistance, legal advice, legal support, that's just the California way. We embrace our diversity. Our diversity is what's made our communities thrive and our economy thrive. And so we will assist families against the threats of the Trump administration.
This brings us to the Biden EPA administrator caught on an undercover Project Veritas tape saying we're going to spend a boatload of money before Trump comes in and cuts off the money.
I do environmental climate policy things.
Really?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Is that here? That stuff is here?
I mean, because I do like federal government climate things. Well, I have been doing that, but that might change. But
why?
So we're at the EPA. So a lot is going to change.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I do you know the Inflation Reduction Act? Have you heard of it?
Yes.
Okay, Biden's climate law?
Yes.
Yeah. So I do IRA implementation. I work with like Biden appointees. The money that we've given out like tens of billions of dollars, like over the last year. Over the last year, we've given out probably like $50 billion.
$50 million?
Billion with a B.
$50 billion.
Yes, for climate things. So like to go work for one of these places, I think would be really cool.
What are the places that you've given them to?
It's only been a few weeks, so it's a little early. But like green banks, so they're like nonprofit institutions that are like making it more financially feasible to build renewables, to do like climate projects. I do implementation now, so I do like how do you spend $100 billion? How do you make sure that like they're the proper? Well, until recently, how do you make sure the proper like processes are in place to like prevent fraud and to prevent abuse and to like ensure that like we are funding like good paying jobs and that sort of stuff. Now it's just how to get the money out as fast as possible before they come in and like stop.
Really?
Yeah.
You can do that?
Yeah. To an extent, just like within reason. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why not? Because if it's not gonna.
Basically, that's where it all is now. I mean, now it all is like, it truly feels like we're on the Titanic and we're throwing like gold bars off the edge.
Does it really?
Yeah.
You gotta feel weird.
It's weird. I mean, it's not good vibes. It's not good. I mean, everyone's very sad.
Who are the gold bars going to?
Nonprofits, states, tribes, cities.
Yeah. Anything like in the news that I would know of?
Not yet.
Like any organization, like.
Well, they're all local. A lot of them are small, not like local nonprofits. This is like a big thing that most of the stuff we funded, but the thing that we haven't funded yet are like the local nonprofit program that like was going to be like a winter Kamala Harris administration program. So now we're just like getting it as quick as possible.
Right. Yeah. To the tune of $50 billion.
No, it's like $2 billion at this point. But yeah, we've got most of it up. Like 90% is out. But
wow. Yeah. And what happens if they try to stop it? They can't?
When they come in, if you haven't gotten out the door, then they can stop it.
You got like 2 months. If they don't get it out by a certain date, what's that date?
It's the inauguration, the 20th. It's renewed on the 20th of January. Yeah.
So you can work right down to the minute.
It's probably like a little after noon, but yeah, it's basically noon. Yeah.
Hey, throw a couple billion here and there.
It's until the Trump people come in and tell us we can no longer give out money.
Wow.
So that's at the very earliest, it's noon on the 20th, and it's probably a little bit after because they have to get in the building and tell people what to do. Will they come in and stop? Yeah, like I think they will. I think they will come in and they will issue an order that like all grants have to stop. EPA can't give any money out until we reevaluate anything, and then they'll say we're reevaluating it, and then Congress will say we're stopping this entirely, and they'll pass a law that says all this money doesn't exist anymore that you wanted to give out. No, I think we gave them the money because it was harder. If it was a government-run program, they could take the money away. No. If Trump won, and because it was a insurance policy against Trump winning. So like these are basically like nonprofit institutions that will cover the entire country. They could have been a government agency, but because they aren't, they're safer from Republicans taking the money away.
You guys are like saving the world, literally.
I don't know if we are, but like, we're throwing gold bars up at the Titanic. Yeah.
You're doing what?
We're throwing gold bars off the Titanic. That's all we can say. We're doing. I don't know if we're saving it, but we're getting the money.
It's like throwing gold bars off the Titanic, he said. Are you kidding me?
Come on now! Help me! Together now!
Right. That's it then. Goodbye, Molly. Good luck. Goodbye, Molly.
Take a turn around the baby, lower the first channel until the deck is
Finally, did you have a great Thanksgiving?
Turkey tastes half as good as it looks. I think we're all in for a very big treat.
Save the neck for me, Clark.
Okay, Eddie.
In baseball, few things are more rare than a triple play.
Oh, ouch. 99. And that got
Triple kill. If Pete Hegseth goes down, here's Trump's next Secretary of Defense. It ain't over till it's over. This is exactly why we need school choice.
Name an animal with 3 letters in its name.
Dog. Dog. Cat. Bat. Rat. Ape. Fly. Bee. Pig. Hog. Hen. Eel. Ant.
Frog.
Unbelievable.
Something found in a refrigerator.
Milk.
Milk. A brand of gasoline.
Shell. Mobile.
Regular.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Something that comes with a summer storm.
Rain.
Snow.
Sounds right. All right, we're not out of the woods yet. Let's see what your brother can do.
I got good news and bad news.
It's all bad news.
Give me the bad news first.
The bad news is your brother thinks it snows in the summer and is pretty dicey on 3-letter words. Bring him back. Here we go.
Name an animal with 3 letters in its name.
Dog, cat, just say something normal.
Alligator.
Check, please. Ever go to the restroom, you sit down and suddenly realize there's no TP? Well, aren't friends and loved ones, great.
Hi, buddy.
In his defense, he is a proctologist.
Tavares.
Right in the butt.
What? No. Blake.
This is the best.
Yeah, that's it.
Hope you enjoyed We've Got a Country to Save, brought to you by my friends at InvestYRefy.com. Invest in America like I do. And by Freedom Chat. Freedom Chat has true end-to-end encryption, no storage of messages on the server, and no commercial use of user data. That way, you can speak freely and message privately. Download the app today and subscribe to my Freedom Chat channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. We also thank Epoch Times, Old Glory Bank, Patriot Mobile, El Cholo, Century H2O, and Blue Line Moving. Make sure to follow or subscribe to my channel on whatever platform you are using, whether X, YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble. And be sure to patronize our sponsors. Please like and subscribe to our podcast. And remember, we've got a country to save.
I want you to all go back and Google
Gunga, Galunga. Gunga, Gunga, la Gunga.
Google what they said.